But let's look at how the role of all of these coding standards and process standards would apply to you as a software developer. So if we take, for example, the ISO 26262 project, where do you start? Well, you would need to look at hazard analysis to determine your ASIL level. And hazard analysis in itself is a massive topic and would require several webinars and seminars. But in general, they look at what happens if the software fails. They want you to consider the severity. Will your failure result in injury or loss of life? The exposure. How often is this software component used? Or the function of this software, how often is it used? And also how often is a failure therefore likely to happen? And controllability. Can the system be overridden? It's not always easy to decide this. So we have some examples here of, say, a braking system. This will be used very frequently in a car, every couple of minutes, unless you're just driving on the motorway, say. But the severity is quite severe, so the failure is likely to result in injury or loss of life. The exposure is high, as I said. And the controllability. Well, what else can the driver do if the braking system fails? There's also the handbrake, or even turning off the engine maybe. Or we have central locking. This may be something that is, you may think initially that isn't really a software risk, because it's normally used to lock your car and save it from theft. But what about if your car's been involved in a crash and the central locking system jams? Is there a way for the user to override the system? So how do you decide what your ASIL level will be? This is quite a difficult topic. But during this hazard analysis, you would formulate your safety goal with mind to the ASIL that you've chosen for your function. You would need to go through the process of selecting the various tools, the tools that you want to use during your development process. And again, we come back to the question, do you use an unqualified tool and therefore perform your own qualification, or do you choose a tool that has been qualified? You develop towards a safety plan. If you choose a qualified tool, the qualified tools have a safety manual or a user manual that tells you how you can use the tool in this safety environment. It should include installation guidelines so that you can verify that you have installed your tool correctly. It will have maybe some constraints on the tool operation, some things that you shouldn't do in a safety environment. And it will give you a safe workflow, how to make sure you're using the tool safely. For example, don't turn off the default behavior of the tool. And it should also tell you how to generate the reports, which you can then give to your certification body when your software comes in to be certified. And it will also list on the ISO 26262 tables which requirements can be qualified by the use of this tool. And using this tool, you should then achieve certification. We could look quickly at a DO178B project as well. So again, your hazard analysis would come first, and you would determine your DAL level. Will your software failure result in the loss of control of an aircraft? This would be detrimental to human life. Would it result in injury or loss of life, or maybe just passenger discomfort? The result in passenger inconvenience, or have no impact on safety? These are really just the DAL level interpretations. But again, it's not easy to decide what your DAL level should be. The in-flight entertainment, for example, this is something that is used more and more recently, used more to show the safety instructions at the beginning, to show you where your exits are. So if that fails, actually that could be quite hazardous these days. But again, you would define your software lifecycle process and use tools. So you can either qualify the tools that you're going to use yourself, show that they work as intended, or you could use a qualified pack, save yourself from some time by choosing a tool that has been qualified. and you would develop your software to meet your objectives and use the tools as specified in the tool's user manual and tool operational requirements. And you could then achieve certification for your DO178B.